Okay, welcome back to the Barrett channel. Welcome to another video. I'm here today with Abby now. I've been on a project in Sichuan. We're in Chengdu at the moment. And during that time, we visited some minority villages. And I found out something really interesting during that time, that Abby is a minority here in China, is that right?
Yes, I'm a Hui ethnic minority people.
You're a Hui minority people, right? Hui,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
And but you didn't grow up in a village, did you?
No.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Tianjin. That's one of the 4 municipalities in China. So it's a big city.
It's quite near Beijing, right?
Yeah. It's only half an hour by train.
Oh, right, from Beijing.
So I'm a city girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so are you a minority through your grandparents, were they?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's ancestral.
Like basically everyone in my family is minority.
Okay. And there's another thing, you're not only a minority, but you're also a Muslim minority, is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so this is the sort of area that I'm interested in, because a lot of people in the West think that the Chinese authorities treat Muslims bad, or they're trying to get rid of them. And I just want to kind of explore that a bit with you to see if you think that is actually the case, or you think that's
That is absolutely not the case.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, grew up in China, I'm never afraid or scared to say I'm a Muslim. And I am quite proud to say that.
That's good.
I mean, growing up, since elementary school, since kindergarten actually, every school, kindergarten, we have a halal restaurant.
Really?
Yes. And
wow.
Every one of them. So when I was in kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, they all have halal restaurants.
And what about, are you a practicing Muslim?
It's for me, because I'm from a big city, so it's more like a dietary habit, so eating habit.
So you don't eat pork at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. And at those sort of schools and colleges, there are obviously other Muslims there which you befriended, I guess, yeah? What about if they were practicing Muslims and they need to pray? Do some of those places have an area where you can go to pray?
Not in school.
Okay.
Not in school, but there are many mosques in the cities. In Beijing, of course, and then in Tianjin as well.
So you have a mosque that you can attend?
We have many mosques.
Really?
Yes.
They haven't been knocked down, right?
No, of course not.
They haven't been closed down?
No.
And you don't have a problem going there to pray if you want to?
No, not at all.
Really?
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, this is a big misconception of the West. In fact, I believe there are more mosques in China than any other country in the world, I believe.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So that's really
and actually,
interesting.
I did a video about a halal food hunting tour in Beijing.
Okay.
So right in the middle of Beijing, very close to the city center, Tiananmen Square, the Forbidden City, there's a street called Ox Street, Niujie. So that place has, the majority of people living there are Muslims. So along the streets there are halal restaurants, halal snacks, halal food stores everywhere. And it has the biggest mosque in Beijing, just on that street. So it's pretty to the city center. And there's also, the Islamic Institute, also on that street, so in the center of Beijing. Okay,
because I spent a few years in Guangzhou, and there's a large Muslim community in Guangzhou. And again, another sort of misconception that I think is in the West, they seem to think that all the Muslims in China are in Xinjiang. And again, that's not the case, is it?
That's not the case.
We're in Sichuan, and we were out at a hot pot restaurant tonight, and what were there? There were a lot of Muslim people there, right?
Yes, actually today is the Eid,
right? That's why they were celebrating it,
and it's a Friday. Friday is the big day in a week for Muslim people, and usually Muslim people go pray in mosques on Fridays. So that's why there are a lot of people waiting to go in at a hot pot store. It is so full. Everybody's there celebrating, and we saw a lot of people, wearing those.
Yeah, the Muslim. We even
yeah.
saw a small girl, didn't we, in traditional Muslim dress.
Yes.
And I noticed nobody really sort of is staring or anything like that.
We're not hiding anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, growing up, I'm quite proud to say I'm a Muslim, and all of my students, all of my classmates, my friends, they respected my habit, our custom, and when we go out to eat, they will never order pork when we eat together.
Because they're aware. Yeah.
Yes. There are 55 ethnic minority groups in China, and a lot of them are Muslim. It's not just Uyghur people.
Sure.
There are Hui ethnic minority, and also Hasake. That's a Chinese name, ethnic minority. I believe there's more, but I can't think of right now.
I think it's unbelievable how a lot of Westerners think that China are trying to get rid of minorities and Muslims. I mean, we've been this week to see a number of minority villages, and they're thriving, aren't they? And,
yes.
And the government has done a lot for them from a view of poverty alleviation. And I saw the same when we were in Taiyuan as well. We saw the Zhuang minority there. And again, there's lots of schemes that were set up to help them. In fact, that was really interesting because there was one, they were weaving a cloth, and they'd actually, one of their customers was Hermes, and they buy the cloth to use in their products, and they were really proud to sort of tell us about that. But it was all woven in the traditional way, and the Chinese government had actually provided a lot of help for them to set up a centre. And we saw, was that a government thing that we saw, where we saw that those minority shoes they were making? And I asked about buying them, and they says, no, we're like an organisation that just buys them from the villagers. Was that a government sort of set up thing?
No, it's not. It's the villagers helping villagers themselves.
Okay.
So apparently that woman was a businessman. She knows how to run businesses, and the other ladies from the village they all know, because they all know how to do the embroidery.
To sew and
yes. So this lady, so she sets up this company and she collects those items from the villagers, and some of them she kept it for just collection and for show, because there's on the third floor is more like a museum thing,
that's right.
And if they have extra, they will sell it online and also to the tourists, so they can earn money together. And lift everyone out of poverty.
I've been quite shocked. I mean, I'm aware that the government do a lot of poverty alleviation stuff here, but it's not until the last sort of few months where I've been to see it myself that I'm pretty impressed with how much they've done. We went to one village and their income has gone up 20 times in the last sort of 5 to 7 years. And that's really a lot. It's quite good. But just getting back to the core thing. So you, as a practicing Muslim or a sort of semi-practicing Muslim, where you follow some of the rules and that. And can I ask you, do you have a Quran in your house? It's not been banned in China, right?
No, it's not. Actually, in my grandparents' house, her alarm is a Quran.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So every morning, if I set the alarm to 7 now, when I went to school when I was young, and 7 a.m. the Quran will start singing in our room, so it's pretty funny.
Yeah. Do your grandparents speak Arabic at all?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't understand, but they understand a little bit, just a little bit.
And again, that's something else that's.
But we do in every Muslim's house, we have those scriptures in our room, in our house.
Okay.
Yeah, and also you will see a little plate thing hanging on the top of the door. Yeah, that's.
And there's no problem to display them.
No problem.
And one other thing I noticed since we've been going around is all the signs in these ethnic areas. They're not just in Chinese, they're in the ethnic language.
Yes.
And a lot of them are in English as well, aren't they?
Yes. Actually, we went to, the villages are quite small here,
Yeah.
and it's pretty remote. And I see all of their signs are written in 4 languages. So
Wow.
Chinese, English, Korean, and Japanese.
Wow.
All of the signs here.
God, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
that's
isn't it?
amazing.
Yeah.
And
Because again, that's another thing that the West level, the Chinese are trying to make everybody speak Putonghua, which is the Mandarin Chinese. Now,
No.
that is true that they want everybody to speak that.
Of
but
course,
not
because
over
you
and
have
above
to-
their local language.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting when they try to push this about Xinjiang, because if you look at, there's a lot of people in Shanghai who speak Shanghainese, but they're also learning Mandarin.
Yeah.
People in Guangdong speak Cantonese, but they're learning Mandarin.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
only the same thing in
Well,
Xinjiang.
Well, I've been to Tibet. Last year, I went to Tibet. I visited a Tibetan school there.
Just 1 second. She has been to Tibet, and there's a lot of great videos on her channel. I'll leave the link in the description, so go and check them out.
Thank you. So yeah, I visited a Tibetan school, and they actually have Tibetan language class. Yeah, so they are teaching their own dialects, their own language. It's
As
not
well as Mandarin.
yes,
Yeah.
as well as English.
Because they want the whole country to be able to speak Mandarin, simply so different parts of China can communicate
Yes,
better with
of course.
each other.
I mean, it's one country, so you have to be able to communicate with each other.
Of course.
And also, there's I don't know if you've noticed that in some ethnic minority region, there are signs, like for Tibetan people, there are Tibetan language sign, and then Mandarin. Underneath.
So-
And there's a rule locally, not just in Tibet, but other people in China as well, like Guangxi or
Yeah, because
Xinjiang.
Guangxi is a big
Yes.
area for minorities, isn't
yes,
it?
and
Yeah.
also Yunnan and Guizhou, those are the major minority regions in China. So in those places, they have those local rules that you have to put the minority language above the Mandarin
Chinese.
sign.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. So that's
And-
something really interesting.
And
yeah.
what interested me recently was that I just got my ID renewed. Our 身份证, our ID
Yeah,
card,
yeah.
right? So mine just the old one expired on May the 4th, so I just got my new one. When I went to the police station to renew it, I saw there's a poster sign, like some instructions to renew your ID, and it actually listed that in minority regions, the ID card will be shown in 2 different languages.
Oh, right. So
Yeah.
your own language and
the
Mandarin.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I also, something else, if you look on Chinese money, I know we don't use that much anymore, but actually there's 3 or 4 different scripts and languages on
Yes.
Chinese money,
Yes.
isn't there? And
Yes.
that's interesting. So before we wrap this up, I just want to ask you one other thing. As a minority, you actually have in the past and still have some kind of privileges over and above Han people, don't you? Tell me a little bit about those.
I think the most well-known one is during the college entrance examination. That's a really, really big thing in China.
What's that called again? Is it the Gaokao?
高考,
Yeah.
高考, college entrance exam.
And that's
Yeah.
really important, isn't
That's
it?
really important. That's like the biggest thing from since you were a 6-year child to
You're
until
studying
you're
for
18.
that, yeah.
So we have extra scores. We can have extra if you are a minority. Yeah.
And actually,
so for
Han-
me, from Tianjin, from Tianjin, or you're from Beijing, so big cities, I can get a extra 5
points.
5 points.
Yeah, and is it the case that some minorities can get 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If
and
they're
that,
from
and that
a
actually
remote region.
upsets some Han people, doesn't it? Some
Yeah.
Han people are not happy with that, are they?
No, but most people that's just accept it. Yeah, because the total score would be over about 700. I mean, different places have different
Sure.
scores for Beijing and Tianjin.
So it's not a big
It's not that big,
big amount, but
if
it's
you
just a
really
little
need
bit.
it, it really helps.
Helps you.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was that in the era of the one-child policy,
Yeah,
that didn't apply to minorities, did it?
sibling.
But you don't have any, do you, right?
I don't. My parents just love me. Just me is enough. But I think minorities can have up to 2. I mean, now we don't. The one-child policy has already been.
Yeah, sure, it's lapsed, hasn't it?
Yeah, yes.
It's
but
been
when I was young, when we still practiced one-child policy, minority families can have 2 children.
2 children.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. Thank you for taking the time to come and speak to me today about it, because I think it's important that we try and get the West to understand a little bit more about China.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of frustrating that they have all these sort of preconceived ideas, and it's really interesting to speak to you, who's not just a minority person, but also you're Muslim, so you've got sort of both things going on.
I'm really glad that you brought it up, because really, I mean, growing up here more than 20 years, I've never been, you know, afraid or scared to tell anybody that I'm a Muslim.
That's really
on the opposite, I'm quite proud to say that. And when people hear it, they will not be, you know, surprised, or they want to stay away from you. They feel like, she's a minority, and I want to respect her.
Well, even the place we went to Hot Pot today was a halal hot pot place, which you were really.
I was so happy. I was so happy because, you know, we usually believe that the northern China has more Muslims than in the south. Yeah. So I was really surprised to see there's a halal hot pot, Sichuan style hot pot restaurant here in Chengdu, because, you know, in Beijing, there are a lot of halal restaurants, halal hot pot restaurants, of course, but they're all northern style. There's no southern style halal restaurant. But here, I was like, I really want to try hot pot, Sichuan style, but they don't have enough Muslims here. They don't have so many Muslims that as in Beijing, right? But I was searching on Dianping, Dazhong Dianping. That's like a
food restaurant app.
Yes. So the first thing came out on the first. It's not the first result, but it's on the same first page. There's a halal hot pot Sichuan style restaurant. I was so happy to see that.
Go there. Yeah. That's great. Well, as I say, hopefully that has give you a little bit more understanding into both minorities and religion here in China. And if you did like that video, give it a thumbs up. I will put the links to Abby's channel down below. Please go and check it out, because some of her Tibet videos are really good.
Thank you.
And as always, for now, take care.